What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Michael and Mike Boston Sports Talk with your host, Mike Molyneux. It's been a couple of months since I've done an episode. I think it's been since July, but it's now November. You got the Celtics season underway, the Patriots season underway, so I'm ready to get back to talking nothing but Boston sports. I was debating whether to do my next episode on the Celtics or the Patriots, but after talking to a couple of people, hearing some feedback, I figured I'd roll with the Celtics because, they're the most relevant team right now with everything they're going through. They're having some struggles this season. So I figured I'd break down what's been going on with the Boston Celtics so far in the 2012-2013 season. As we already know, the Celtics went through many changes this past offseason. One of the core members of the team left, Ray Allen, went to the Miami Heat. I won't get into that too much. Then they brought in a lot of new faces to the team. You draft some new guys, most notably Jared Sullinger, who's been a major part of the team, playing some big minutes off the bench. You get Jeff Green back from his injury, the heart ailment. Get Chris Wilcox back. Then you bring in Jason Terry. You sign him to a 3-year deal, and then you also get Courtney Lee. Signed Leonardo Barboza. Celtics brought in a lot of new pieces to the team and hope that, this team, like they expect every season, gives them the best opportunity to get them through the playoffs and to the finals. And so far this season, we've seen the Celtics have a lot of ups and downs. Mainly, I would say the most noticeable part is the Celtics defense. Now, we all know, the last couple of seasons, especially since Garnett's joined the team, the main focus of the Celtics has been defense and slowing down their opponents defensively. KG's been the leader, doing his thing. Paul Pierce has always said ever since KG's joined the team, he's changed the culture of the Boston Celtics, and that has definitely been true defensively for the team. And this season, one thing you can see the Celtics doing more is giving up a lot of points. I think so far they've given up the most 100-point games to their opponents that I've seen them do in the last couple of seasons. They're usually good for holding their team to high 80s, low 90s in scoring, but this season, you've had a lot of teams break that 100-point marker at the end of games. And just to go off the last couple of games the Celtics had, starting with their loss to the Detroit Pistons, which I think, in my personal opinion, was the worst loss I've seen the Celtics have ever since Garnett joined the team. I can't remember a game where they've played that bad and they just looked completely horrible offensively and defensively. And the thing about it was Detroit, one of the worst teams in the NBA, they weren't playing real good as well. And it was just tough to see the Celtics lose that game, knowing that they're definitely the more elite team, and then they just screwed that game up and gave an easy win to Detroit and got blown out by 20 plus, and it was just a sad sight to see. But moving on from that game, you can't worry about that. You go on to San Antonio, and everybody knows, San Antonio is always an elite team in the NBA. They're up there with Celtics, your Lakers, Miami. One of those teams you expect to be always at the top at the end of the season. And, they lose that game. I'm never really worried about San Antonio because as well as they do play in their conference, I always feel that the Celtics match up pretty well against them. One thing that San Antonio and the Celtics have in common is they're both real deep when it comes to their bench. San Antonio has a lot of guys who can easily come off the bench and contribute just as well as the Celtics do. At the beginning of the season, the Celtics were going with a lot of different starting lineups, but I think they really settle into the Rondo, Jason Terry, Paul Pierce, Bass, and Garnett. Courtney Lee's coming off the bench now, and he's contributing. Sullinger, I think for a rookie, Doc Rivers is known for not playing rookies as much, but he's definitely giving Sullinger a chance to shine, and he's coming off the bench in the backup power forward role, and I think he's doing a hell of a job behind Brandon Bass. Sometimes even better than Brandon Bass, crashing the boards and whatnot. Just his little hustle plays that he has been really helpful to the Celtics. But getting back to the San Antonio game, Yeah, they let guys come off the bench for San Antonio and really kill the Celtics. I think Thiago Splitter had 23 points off the bench, which was huge. Surprisingly, like that's not something Celtics are known for, letting guys come, especially guys come off the bench and really hurt a Celtics team. They're not known for that. But then they lose that one. Then you go on to face Oklahoma City, defending Western Conference champions, who, I always feel, especially after seeing them play the Celtics last season, it was a horrible game last season, and I was there personally, and I watched the Celtics get completely destroyed by OKC. But this year, you figure the Celtics have a younger team, a little more athletic, so they can maybe run with OKC, and they did, and they was able to win that game pretty convincingly. Towards the end of the game, you had Durant and Westbrook kind of go off and bring OKC back into the game, but for the most part, Celtics held their own and was able to beat OKC, which probably surprised a lot of people. Kind of surprised me as well, but it was a pretty convincing win because honestly, the Celtics held OKC down for the most part defensively. Kevin Martin, who usually comes off the bench for OKC and averages about almost 20 a game, they held him to single-digit points, which is probably happened the first time all season, and probably the first time for a while for Kevin Martin to only have single-digit points in a game. And that was another win. Then you move on to the Magic game, against the Orlando Magic, and the Celtics once again going against the team who's not as great. Let Orlando Magic come back late in the game and ended up pushing the game into overtime. And luckily, the Celtics were able to hold on and get the win. But when it comes down to it, the Celtics have shown a lot of inconsistency with their play, offensively and defensively. One guy that I'll definitely get into right now is Jeff Green, who has probably been one of the most inconsistent players coming off the Celtics bench. He has a game like he did against OKC where people was like, man, if this guy can do this every game for the rest of the season, or even close to this, he's definitely a 6 Man of the Year candidate. But then he goes against Orlando Magic and does absolutely nothing. Some people are surprised that Jeff Green got the contract that he did. He missed the year before, and the year before that when the Celtics first got him, he didn't do too much. But me personally, I feel Jeff Green can really perform at a high level. And I feel like he can definitely excel at the 6-man role coming off the bench for the Celtics. But he clearly hasn't showed that with the number of games the Celtics have had this season so far. He's had moments where he shined. He had that big dunk. I forgot what team it was against, but he had that huge dunk and everybody went crazy for that. He has his moments, he hits big shots, but for the most part, he's real inconsistent with his play. And I feel like Jeff Green is one person who definitely needs to step up for the Celtics to be successful this season. Because, when it comes down to it, the only consistent thing about the Celtics so far as this season is Rondo getting his double-digit assists every game. At this point, it's kind of automatic that that's going to come, because I've been one person who said that I feel Rondo could have been averaging double-digit assists for the last 3-4 seasons. But that's one thing is going to come each and every game the Celtics have in the way Rondo plays. But I think the Celtics need to get it together defensively. I think still early in the season, and I feel that they'll get it together. Doc Rivers preaches defense. You got Garnett, who also preaches defense, and Paul Pierce and Rondo been around the team long enough to know that defense is their backbone, and defense is what will carry them to win games. So I feel like towards midseason, maybe hit January, and I feel like the Celtics should get their rhythm together and play at the high level that we really expect them to play at moving on in the season. And when it comes down to it, when playoffs start coming around the corner, the Celtics will be probably one of the top seeds in the East, I expect. Miami's going to be there. Brooklyn is surprising. We'll see if the Knicks can keep it together like they have been so far this season. But I see the Celtics as probably, second, third seed, fourth seed in the East. But we'll see when it's all said and done. But right now, they definitely still have a lot of work to do to really get to that elite level in the NBA. But that's it for this episode of Mike on the Mic, Boston Sports Talk. Have future episodes coming up about the Patriots and they're moving closer to playoff time, and also about the Red Sox offseason and the players that they're focusing in on trying to obtain for their upcoming season. So thanks for watching. Mike on the mic, Boston Sports Talk.